Collecting Books with Danny the Puppet.
Hi, it is I, Danny the Puppet, and I'm coming at you with a movie review. That's right. Today I'm reviewing the best movie of the summer, the most awesome movie of the summer. At least that's what my expectations were. So we'll see if they're there, if it actually hits my expectations. But I'm reviewing Masters of the Universe 2026. This is actually the second Masters of the Universe movie, and the last one came out in 1987. And I gotta tell you right now, I do like the 1987 Masters of the Universe movie. I like that it takes a more serious take on the Masters of the Universe mythology, but it doesn't cover a lot of things. Prince Adam's never really mentioned, and a lot of the other characters aren't there. And of course, it's like polished up and looks a little different than I remember Masters of the Universe looking. Don't get me wrong, I like the 1987 movie. It's a lot of nostalgia for me, but did it really hit Masters of the Universe as I remember it from the toy line, the cartoon? Well, no. But I still like the 1987 movie, and I still like Dolph Lundgren as He-Man, and it definitely hits a more serious thing. And let's not forget Gwildor. Anyways, let's review the new Masters of the Universe movie and tell you what Danny the Puppet thinks of it. First of all, I was really happy to go see it. Didn't think I was going to get to see it the first week it was out, but my family surprised me and took me to the film, and it was... Let's just start off saying it. It was awesome. That's right, it was awesome. Imagine the He-Man cartoon come to life, the Filmation cartoon. It really did. A magical world where there's talking tigers, talking dragons, and all those fantasy people that you remember from the Masters of the Universe line, like Ram Man, Man That Rams, and Fisto. And, well, the jokes just keep coming from there. But that's one of the beautiful things about this movie right off the bat. It does not take itself too seriously. It's filled with jokes about how silly some of the items are from there, and runs on the idea of some of the ideas from the Filmation cartoon. It's got a sense of humor to it, and it knows exactly what it is. Now, if this was just a parody of Masters of the Universe and just a bunch of silly quips and things like that, making fun of the old Masters of the Universe cartoon, I don't think I would have loved it. But it does deliver a lot of heart, too. It's a really good movie. It's got some nice, serious action scenes, so if you're looking for sword and sorcery fights, it's there. And it has a lot of heart, too. So don't forget that. Going into it, if you think it's just going to be a silly Filmation fest, you are incorrect. It's got a lot of heart, and it's got some great action sequences. It definitely has a feeling like a Guardians of the Galaxy type movie, where while it is a sci-fi fantasy film, it does have a sense of humor to it, as I've mentioned before, and it does make fun of some of the silly things like the idea of their names. Let's face it, who's going to call a person Mechanic, Fisto, or even He-Man? But this movie offers some valid explanation for that, a little on the silly side of course, but also still delivers and gives us a good serious movie too. Talk about some of the performances. The lead actor, who escapes my name right now, Nicholas something, Galvatron. I can't remember exactly, but he does a really good job as He-Man and Adam. We're introduced to him first as Adam, as he's stuck on Earth. For those of you who watched the previews and were worried this was going to be another Masters of the Universe movie that takes place on Earth, don't worry, it goes beyond that. It doesn't spend much time on Earth at all. But Adam's trapped on Earth and looking for his way back home that he remembers from when he was a kid. And of course, the search for a sword. The sword's really cool. Looks exactly like the sword we had when we were kids with our little He-Man toys. So kind of neat to have. I, of course, had to purchase the giant sword drinking cup. Drinking out of a sword is rather interesting, and it makes a nice souvenir from a wonderful time at a movie that I felt really good about seeing. His performance as He-Man is pretty awesome. But he does come off a little naive at times. I never thought Adam was naive in the cartoon, so I think they take it to a bit of an extreme, but he still does a wonderful job as Adam. He's very likable, and very likable as He-Man as well. And wow, it's really good. They do, well, I don't want to spoil too much here, but how they handle the Adam He-Man identity is rather interesting throughout the movie. Also, we get Jared Leto as Skeletor. Not a fan of him. I've never really liked his movies much, and it's Morbin time, of course, but you can hardly tell it's him in that role. But he does something with Skeletor, it's really amazing. One of my biggest complaints about the old Filmation cartoon is Skeletor is a bit of a buffoon. He's not a very scary villain, but this movie makes sure that he is a scary villain and still has lots of the silly quips that you would expect from him in the cartoon. So definitely Skeletor is a scene stealer every time he is on the scene and chewing up scenery. Could the part be played by someone other than Jared Leto? Yes. And maybe if there's a sequel, maybe it will be. But we'll talk about that later too. Will there be a sequel to this movie? And then Alison Brie is Evil Lynn. I don't have a lot of complaints about this movie, but that's one of them. She just didn't quite deliver the Evil Lynn character the way I'd expect. I kept picturing her as her character from Community, or even worse, Unikitty, when I heard her voice. But she does a serviceable job, don't get me wrong. But let's talk about my favorite performance in the movie. Idris Elba. Sir Idris Elba. Oh, that's right. He's a knight now. Playing Man-at-Arms. When I heard that he was playing Man-at-Arms, it got me really excited about this movie. He's one of my favorite actors, and he played a character from one of my favorite books, Stephen King's series, the Dark Tower series. He played Roland. And I did think he did a really good job with it, but that was a very bad script. Roland's a character that reminds me a little of Man-at-Arms, actually, when I read those books. So seeing Idris Elba playing this part, ooh. But he did a great job playing Man-at-Arms. Again, don't want to get too much in a spoiler territory, but he plays a little bit of a broken Man-at-Arms who has failed, and he needs to learn that when you fall, it's your chance to stand tall. Which actually is a theme throughout the movie. He says it very early on, but it's a lesson he needs to learn as Duncan Man-at-Arms too. Orko isn't present in the movie, but we have Roboto. Roboto, voiced by Kristen Wiig, is done very, very well. Kind of a gender swap on the character, but I didn't mind it that much. Roboto is pretty cool, and Roboto kind of becomes Man-at-Arms foil throughout the movie. So instead of the Orko Man-at-Arms chemistry, you have Roboto and Man-at-Arms, and it's done very well. But Man-at-Arms, I really liked him in the movie, and is definitely my favorite part. He is my favorite character, and it was something I was looking forward to seeing. Oh, it makes me want to see sequels for it because he did such a good job. Oh, I love it. It's great. We figured out what that little compartment was for on the front of his outfit. Again, I won't spoil anything, but just watch the movie and find out. The actress who plays Teela, who I'm forgetting the name of, I really should put notes together when I do these reviews, does a great job playing Teela. It was really good. The actress playing the sorceress did a wonderful job. It's all around great. The other characters, Ram Man and Fisto, are played a lot for laughs, Mechaneck as well, but they're there, and they're just like you pictured them from the cartoons when you were a kid. It was really cool. I love this movie, and I encourage you to see it. I'm a little worried this movie is not going to do well in the box office, which means no sequels, which is a shame, because I'd love to see these actors together again. I'd love to see this cast making another He-Man movie, another Masters Universe movie. It had everything. It had Cringer. It had, wow, it just was so much. And it was a beautiful landscape. The music was amazing. Very Flash Gordon vibes, which makes sense. Brian May from Queen was involved. Nice Masters Universe theme song. As my brother said, it was the Queen song that we didn't see coming, even though it wasn't Queen. Just so much good about this movie. You need to go see it in theaters. You need to go see it on the big screen. And like I said, I don't know if it's going to do too well. I don't think people like the big blockbusters. But the other thing is, it was a feel-good blockbuster. It wasn't too preachy. It was just fun. It was just fun. I felt like I was a kid again. I felt so great after I left the movie. I felt so good seeing this movie, and I want to see it again and again and again. I can't wait to get it on home video, and it was great. And it even had a lesson at the end. We learned that muscles doesn't necessarily make the man, and if you have a skull as a face, it pretty much guarantees you're the bad guy. That's all. Until next time.